Okay, so when it comes to adding fractions, okay, the whole goal is to get the denominators to be the same. Okay. So if you have something like, okay, if you have something like number 5, I'm only paying attention to number 5 here. Okay, on the top row. Okay. So if you look at number 5 right here, okay, what's a better example? That's not a bad example. Let's just do a fraction. Oh, right here on the top right. Okay. You basically have to get the denominators, when it comes to adding and subtracting, you got to get the denominators to be the same. Okay. So we have a 4 and a 3 here. What's the GCF? Excuse me, the LCM is 12. Okay. Then what? Then you multiply 4 times 4 to get to 12 is you multiply by 3, and what you do on bottom you got to do on top. 3 to get to 12 you multiply by 4, so what you do on bottom you do on top. And lastly, negative 9 plus 20 is 11 over 12. Okay, that's like 3rd grade, 4th grade stuff. That's why I just blasted right through that. Okay. Okay, so when it comes to something like this, all right, it's actually very similar. Okay, it's very similar in the big picture, the big idea. Okay. So you ask yourself, okay, what is this missing that that has, and what is this missing that that has? This is what I mean. Okay. We want all the denominators to match. Okay. We want all the denominators to match. So as a denominator, let's go ahead and first of all, I want to put parentheses around all this. Okay. What is this missing that that has? Okay. It's an x. All right. What is this denominator missing that that denominator has? An x plus 1. And remember, what you do on bottom, you got to do on top. Okay, bear with me here. Now, what is this missing what is this missing that that has? Okay, it's missing an x plus 1. It's also missing an x minus 1. Okay. What is this missing that this has? Nothing. This already has an x plus 1 just like this, so there's nothing to add over here. Now, what is this missing that pick eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Okay, it doesn't matter. What is this missing that the left one has? Okay, it's missing an x. Okay. Now, what is this missing that this has? An x minus 1. Okay. Now, all our denominators match. Okay, and by the way, I forgot to do what you do on bottom, you have to do on top. Whoops. Whoops. I don't know why my pen is not working here. There you go. And again, what you do on bottom, you got to do on top. This is the hardest step. If you understand this step, you are in great shape. Okay, you are in great shape. So again, we want all the denominators to match. So you just ask yourself, what is this denominator missing that the other has? Okay, and once they all, and remember, what you do on bottom, you got to do on top. And then after that, now it's just a whole bunch of algebra. Now, once the denominators match, you can actually ignore the denominators. Okay, once they match, you can ignore the denominators, and we can just focus on the numerators now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write out what we have as in the numerator right now. Okay, look at what I have in the numerator. Boom, boom. That's what I have in the numerator. Okay. All right. Now, what I like to do is the way I like to distribute. Now it's just algebra. Okay, it's basically IM1, IM2 stuff. Okay, now basically how I like to navigate this is take care of the binomials first. Multiply those out. Okay, so I'm gonna double distribute that, and I'm going to get this right here. Okay, the yellows right here, boom, boom. The top yellows became the bottom yellows. Okay, and then over here, okay, I distributed this to that, and I got that. Okay, all right. You don't have to do it in that order. I just think this is the easiest way. Okay, now you go ahead and distribute. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. All right. Now you are going to get this. Boom. Okay. After distributing, okay, you're going to get to this line right here. Boom, boom. After distributing. Okay, I'll make those pink because the distributions were red. Okay, after you distribute here, you get the red on bottom. Okay. Now, by the way, well, let's go ahead and just continue. Now you just combine like terms, okay, and move stuff over to one side. Okay. So I'm gonna move. So on the left side, okay, I'm gonna get x cubed. Do it in black. After combining like terms, I get x cubed plus 4x squared plus 1x minus 2 equals to x cubed minus 1x squared. And then I'm going to keep the highest exponent positive. It doesn't matter which direction you move it in this case because the x cubes are going to cancel out. Okay, I would rather move less terms. So I'm going to move the 2 terms here to the left side. And I'm going to get minus x cubed and plus 1x squared. All right. Cancel, cancel. And now I get 5x squared plus 1x minus 2 equals 0. And then you just factor. Okay? Just factor, and if factoring doesn't work, then use the quadratic formula. In this case, you're going to need to use the quadratic formula. Okay? Now, by the way, what happens? I want to show you a couple scenarios. Okay? That's 99% of the problem there. Okay? Let's pretend this was a minus sign, a big fat minus sign here. Okay, let me do it in green. Okay? Let's say this were a big fat minus sign. That means this is a big fat minus sign. That's a big fat minus sign. Okay? The way I like to do it if it's a big fat minus sign is you can do it a couple ways. Okay? Here, I'll show you the easier way. Okay? This is actually not the way I like to do it, but it's fine. Okay? It's the easier way. We can jump to this little shortcut. This is going to be this is basically going to be negative 2. Okay? Negative 2 times x squared is going to be minus 2x squared. That's fine. However, negative 2 times negative 1 is going to be positive 2. That makes this positive 2. That makes this positive 2. So instead of distributing a plus 2 that we had originally, we're going to get minus 2. Okay? Now, let's say through quadratic formula, you get I'm going to make something up. Okay? This is not the correct answer, but let's say that in a hypothetical scenario, you get after using factoring, actually, factoring or quadratic formula, doesn't matter, you get this. Okay, this is the last piece right here. Let's say you get x equals to 1, 3, and 0. I made that up. Okay. Now, I'm going to, 1 is a non-viable solution. 1 does not work as a solution. 3 and 0 will work as a solution. Why is that? How come I cross off 1? Look what happens if I plug in 1 into the original equation in black here. Look what happens when I plug in 1. Okay. Actually, I got to cross off 0 also. Okay. What happens when I plug in 1? 1 minus 1 is 0, which makes this denominator 0, which makes this fraction undefined. If this fraction is undefined, the whole thing's undefined. Okay? So again, 1 would be crossed out because if I plug in 1 into x minus 1, that makes the denominator 0, which makes this fraction, okay, something over 0, which is undefined. That means the whole equation collapses. Okay? Same thing here. If I have a 0 as a answer, if I plug in 0 into x right here, okay, that's 2 over 0, which is undefined, which makes the whole equation collapse. Okay, in this case, 3 would be your only answer. So the last final step would be to just plug in these numbers into the denominators to see which one produces 0, and whichever ones produces 0 would make that answer crossed out, because a 0 for a denominator would make the fraction undefined, which would make the equation collapse, so to speak. Okay? That wraps up today's lesson, folks.